The journey of 1,000 miles for us started in 2020, COVID, and we needed to talk to caregivers about taking care of themselves. And we started to learn how to do the whole Zoom thing stuff and talk and get the lights on, and it wasn't working out. We did Zoom meetings where I forced 10 of my friends to come and be, and it was supposed to grow, and it didn't. And then it did. It was important at a certain point for us to sit and ask ourselves, but why is it so difficult for caregivers to put themselves in the picture of care? Like, they're so busy giving out care, why is it so difficult for them to ask for care, to practice self-care, to receive care by others? And we mapped out six reasons, and that's what this program is about. One, adjusting to your evolving identity as a caregiver, separating yourself from the role of a caregiver, like the two of you are separate. The relationship, the work, very different. So making that separation. Setting smart self-care goals and caregiving goals. Then we talk about grief, because somehow it's part of the package of this thing called life, of this thing called care. And finally, we do the last week, which is today, which is graduation, which is a review of the changes that you have incorporated in your life, refining them. And we brought in cohort 1 to help enrich that process of refining self-care goals, so that cohort 2 could hear what were the challenges cohort 1 met when they left the program. Amazing, amazing stories of fear, of failure, of success, of revival, of just self-talk. Worthwhile self-talk. Self-talk that makes sense, that calls you back up to yourself. Amazing class. The bulk of the participants, 1 were female and 2 family caregivers. In the grand scheme of things, of caregiving things, the doctors have a place to go. They are supervised. There's an authority board that takes care of their wellness. There's a process that takes care of their wellness. So with the nurses, the professional caregivers, the ones that are also called healthcare support assistants, they also get taught stress management, take care of yourself. Maybe not as deep as it should be, or we think it should be, but they are taught. For the family caregiver, you're thrust into the role, and sometimes the role spits you out on the other end. And in between, you have been surviving a tornado almost every day. Now, they formed the bulk of the participants. A channel for family caregivers, 1, to get a break, 2, to connect with other caregivers, 3, to find support and information, resources that help them restore their space in their care role that they face in their family setup. Statistically, there are more women than men in the care role, statistically speaking. And so that's how come we had a lot of women, more than men. And more than all of that, we had them call their friends, their relatives, their acquaintances, who they have met in their daily going-ons and who they know need support that they have received. Fantastic with Koi. Koi has had a normal, extraordinary life as a caregiver. In that, she went through all the stages that lead to compassion fatigue, and out again on the other side, she found renewal. And plants were her channel for that. And it is so interesting that just like plants, a lot of the things that happen in our lives, there are similarities to what happens in our lives versus what happens with plants. And so she brings in her know-how, playing with plants, teaching about plants, growing plants, helping caregivers see themselves in the life of a plant. She was our guest speaker today. She brought in amazing flowers, beautiful flowers, and gave out so many plants to the caregivers to go take care of. Really, what she gave them was time with themselves. Because the time you take to take care of a plant, it is time for yourself. Out of all the busyness of your day, out of all the crowding that can happen in your day, the time it takes to take care of a flower, water it, weed it, prune it, study it, that is time for yourself. So she really did not just give plants, she gave us the gift of time for ourselves. We had a second guest speaker. He helped with giving out the certificates. He reiterated that the certificates were not for your CV. They are not academic. They are a pact that you are making with yourself. Every time you see the certificate, remember you invested time to learn how to take care of yourself. Make it worthwhile. And he left us with a verse from the Bible, somewhere in James, that said, if you do not do the good that you know how to do, you sin against yourself. Now that these participants know how to take care of themselves, they should do better. They will do better, we hope. And if they don't, the certificate reminds them they are sinning against themselves. We are so excited that we have successfully been able to launch Cohort 1, Cohort 2, graciously accommodated by Parklands Baptist Church. And we have successfully finished Cohort 2, and we know this thing is working from the testimonies of the people, from their testimonials, from what they are saying is happening in their lives. We know it is working. Come for the third cohort. I know I have talked about family caregivers because they were the bulk of the participants. But we have had teachers, we have had pastors, we have had nurses, we have had people in care roles, people doing care work, people doing care work in the community, people doing care work in community-based organizations, and even NGOs. So if you are involved in a job that gives you an opportunity to give out to people continually, you are our candidate. You're the person that should be coming in. Come in with your friend, with your friends, with your colleagues. Come and invest 6 weeks on alternate Saturdays, 6 weeks to sit and reflect in your life on what you need to start doing different, on what you need to stop doing. The goal for taking care of yourself intentionally requires new habits. Come grow them with us.